Well, guys, good evening. Welcome to our session. We continue working. This is our session number 7, and that means that we are about to finish Unit 11. I hope once again that you have continued working on the activities in the virtual campus. Remember that tomorrow we will be working, let's say, officially on the development of the third project advance. I'm sure that you have already looked, I hope, or that you remember as well the information. And in these cases, to finish that visual aid that you will be using eventually in your presentation in B1.5. That is basically the intention in this case. I told you the other day that some of you had already uploaded your version. That is like great. If you consider that it is ready, that's up to you. But anyway, one of the things tomorrow, of course, is to work on the advance in particular. For tonight, we will be working, as I was telling you, finishing Unit 11. In this case, is the task. We're talking about pages 112 and 113. Of course, we continue talking about laws and rules in general. Tonight, it is more like a speaking activity. We continue practicing this skill a little bit more. Well, that is basically what the idea of this session is going to be. So I'm going to take attendance as usual. And then we can start working on our Unit 11, well, the final activity of our Unit 11. Let me get to the chart so we can start. Let's see. Today is the 25th. Karen Victoria Acevedo. Not here for the moment. Santiago Fonseca.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Sergio David Gomez. Not here yet. Kiara Lisette Martínez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jorge Jair Moreno.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Natalia Navarro.
Present.
Okay. Diego Fernando Olarte.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Manuela Ortiz. Not here for the moment. Joan Sebastián Pavón. Well, he's having problems with the connection, looks like. Beatriz Pedraza.
Teacher.
Okay. Xiomara Caterine Rincón.
Present.
Okay. Jessica Paola Ríos.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Catherine Alexandra Rodríguez.
Present, Miss.
Okay. Mendy Fabián Santa. Not here for the moment. Manuel Alberto Sepúlveda.
Present, teacher.
Okay. María Alejandra Vega.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And Vanessa Zambrano.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And now I see that Marlon Sanchez is here. There you are, Marlon. So technically, the ones that are absent for the moment are Karen Victoria, Sergio David, Manuela, and now Sebastián is here, right?
Present, teacher.
Okay, very good. Okay, Vanessa is here, and Mendy is also absent, okay? Well, hopefully in a moment, they can arrive to this session. Well, guys, as I was telling you today, we are heading, to the final part of our Unit 11. Once again, most of the information, of course, most of the ideas were taken from our book, pages 112 and 113. There is reading, there is listening, and of course, there is speaking for the session that we have for tonight. This is the presentation. I just adapted the information this way to make sure that we can see like the reading that is being displayed, you know, and also that you can answer the questions that we have in here. I want to read this instruction for you. It says, read the suggestions for laws that should exist and answer the following question. Do any of these laws already exist in your country? And this is like a block, let's put it like that. That's like the context. And this was the original question. What laws do you think should exist? We have already studied modals on this unit, so I know that you remember, but anyway, guys, what's the meaning of should?
Debería.
Very good. So like something that hopefully, it is followed by more people. So we're going to read the 11 laws that these 11 people consider that they should actually exist. Beatriz, could you read number 1?
Everyone should have to do a short test on current affairs before they are allowed to vote.
Allowed to vote. Very good, Beatriz. Thank you very much. When we are talking about current affairs, that means that we're talking about like the situations or the situation that is happening in your country, like in this moment. That's the idea of current affairs, in case that maybe you were asking. Diego, could you read number 2, please?
Yes, teacher. I would ban smoking in all public places, even outside.
Howdy. Very good. Sebastian, could you read number 3, please?
I would make a law saying people who beat or hurt animals should receive the same treatment themselves.
That's it. Jorge, could you read number 4, please?
Okay, teacher. The long-term unemployed should have to do voluntary work to get unemployment benefit from the government.
That's it. Very good. Could you read number 5, Catherine, please?
I think speed limits on motorways should be abolished.
Abolished. That's it. Let's have a look now at number 6, Kiara.
I would make it the law that if you go and live in a foreign country, it should be compulsory to learn the language of that country.
Very good. Okay, Kiara, thank you. Guys, what's the idea or what is like the intention of compulsory? Do you remember that one?
I don't remember, teacher.
Okay. When we say that something is compulsory, it's because it is like an obligation, you know? That is like a very, I would say, summarized way to say what compulsory is about. Manuel, could you read number 7, please?
I think adverbs should only be allowed to give information which is true.
Okay, very good. What about number 8, Maria?
Okay. Drivers should have a trial driving license for a couple of years before they are allowed to have a full license. They should only get a full license if they have So that they are safe on the road.
License and trial. Very good. Marlon, could you read number 9, please?
People who do dangerous sports shouldn't have the right to free medical care if they hurt themselves.
That's it. Mandy, number 10, please. Okay. Natalia, number 10, please.
Okay, I think that hunting and harming animals for sport should be banned.
Banned. And Santiago, 11, please.
I would change the law so that young people have the right to vote at 16.
That's it. Very good. Well, guys, there are a lot of suggested laws. Don't forget the original question that we had in here, and it is, do any of these laws already exist in your country? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to scan on the laws that we have in here. So you're going to share which laws already exist. Okay? That is basically like the idea of this first question, something very simple. So remember, scan these laws. Remember that anyway, they are on the book. On pages, well, on both pages actually, 112 and 113. And let's see which of these laws already exist. You know the drill. First, I ask some volunteers, and then I would choose some from the list. Scan the laws, but suggested laws. 3 minutes starting now. Okay. So first, as usual, let's begin with the possible volunteers. Do any of these laws already exist in your country? Any volunteer, any volunteer? Or I start asking, of course. Yes, Diego, what about you?
Yes, teacher. I think that the laws 2, 3, 8, and 10 should be exist in Colombia.
Should exist?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, that should exist, but maybe my question for the moment was that already exist. That in our country, they are already part of the regular law. Let's put it like that. But what you said, keep it in mind, Diego, because we are going to need that information for the speaking activity. Kiara, what about you?
And teacher, I think that the only one rule exists in Colombia is the 10. And no, the 9. People who do dangerous sport, shoot. It's a medical lesson for practice this sport.
But that doesn't exist for the moment, right, Kiara?
Yes, I don't read clear the sentences. I read shoot, but not
Okay.
shouldn't.
Okay. You said number, at the beginning said number 10, Jorge said number 10. Marlon, what about you? You raise your hand.
Okay, I teacher, I understand, but I it say that number 2 is allowing, but is not really. Iba a decir que la 2 es una ley, pero no había entendido mal. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. It is not like banned, like you have to pay something. Actually, for the moment, like Jorge said, number 10, like they are officially laws in our country. Well, sorry for the noise. Okay, let's go to the book. Let me turn this off for a moment. I think that the noise is kind of far already. Well, guys, so I was telling you that was the idea of the question. Probably you were thinking suggested laws. That would be a good idea to have as like real laws. And as I was telling Diego, in a moment, actually that information on those like predictions are going to be useful for the speaking activity that we will have in a moment. Well, let's not expand too much on that then. We're going to listen to people, they're talking about 4 of the laws suggested on the website. So from those all 11, they are talking about 4 of them. So which ones are they? What reasons and examples do they give? Guys, please, it is like very important that you take notes, okay? On this, you will see that all the speakers, actually the 4 speakers, are giving a lot of information because they are talking about, first of all, the laws, the suggested laws, right? They are giving reasons and they are giving examples. So it is not only like, okay, yes, they're talking about smoking. No, what? Which are the reasons, which are the examples that they provide. Of course, that means that taking notes is necessary for this exercise. Don't lie to me, we don't have that perfect memory. And as you already noticed from here, it is a long, let's say, track. It takes almost 4 minutes. Of course, we're going to listen twice, but then, as you can imagine, we're talking about 8 minutes of listening. It is long, but of course, that is an exercise that we have to do. So, which 4 laws are they talking about? The reasons and the examples. That's it for the listening part. Guys, did you have any questions about the instruction?
No questions.
Okay. Please, guys, take some notes. Well, I don't want to make extra noise. Let's start.
Recording 3. 1.
I think it should be compulsory to have a trial license, the ones you get for motorcycles. Normally, when you have a motorcycle license, you get a trial license, and after about 2 years, you can convert it to a real license. I think that should be implemented for cars as well. Cars are more dangerous than motorcycles, I think. And a lot of people don't really know how to drive properly, especially when they've just gotten their license. Before you get your full license, you have to do an extra test. I think the driving test is thorough enough, but people need a lot more practice before they're actually ready to go out on the roads. And that second test should be able to prove that a person is a competent driver. And I think that should be a law.
2.
I'm going to talk about hunting and hunting laws, and my opinion about hunting, basically. You know, I'm not against hunting. I am against hunting for sport, though. I think there's a big, big difference. You know, people traditionally have needed to hunt to eat and to live. And to me, that's fine. What I don't agree with is hunting for sport, because I don't see the pleasure in going and killing an innocent, beautiful creature just for the sake of killing it. To me, that doesn't make sense. I mean, you would hope that people would use the meat and, you know, they would do something with the animal. But unfortunately, a lot of the time, people don't. They just kill the animal and that's it. So I don't think it should be banned, but it needs to be controlled. And I also think that it would be better if people didn't hunt for sport and they just hunted to sustain themselves and to use the food.
3.
I'd make it a law that if you go and live in a foreign country, it should be compulsory to learn the language of that country. I think that otherwise, if you don't speak the same language as the people around you, you're never going to be able to integrate into society. I lived in Brussels before, where the language is either French or Dutch. And I had a good bit of French, which I found really helpful. People always found it much nicer when you went into a shop or into a restaurant and you were able to make an effort to speak in their language. It's also a much better way to get to know the country that you're living in. It helps you be a bit part of it more if you can actually communicate with the people and make friends with those people. I think that's probably the most important part about it.
4.
I think there should be a law that if you're fit and able and you've been unemployed for, say, 6 months or more, and you're receiving money from the government to help you, you should have to do some kind of voluntary work. There are lots of projects that I'm sure aren't being done because there isn't the money or there aren't the people to do the jobs. So if you're out of work, then why not do something constructive to help society and your local community? The sort of things that could be done are, for example, fixing up local community centres or painting churches, doing work on local schools to make them better places for learning. I think if people did that, did some kind of work or helping the community, it would get them used to the routine of working. It would make it easier for them to get back into work when they eventually find a job.
Unit 11, Recording 3. 1.
I think it should be compulsory to have a trial license, the ones you get for motorcycles. Normally, when you have a motorcycle license, you get a trial license, and after about 2 years, you can convert it to a real license. I think that should be implemented for cars as well. Cars are more dangerous than motorcycles, I think. And a lot of people don't really know how to drive properly, especially when they've just gotten their license. Before you get your full license, you have to do an extra test. I think the driving test is thorough enough, but people need a lot more practice before they're actually ready to go out on the roads. And that second test should be able to prove that a person is a competent driver. And I think that should be a law.
2,
I'm going to talk about hunting and hunting laws, and my opinion about hunting, basically. You know, I'm not against hunting. I am against hunting for sport, though. I think there's a big, big difference. You know, people traditionally have needed to hunt to eat and to live. And to me, that's fine. What I don't agree with is hunting for sport, because I don't see the pleasure in going and killing an innocent, beautiful creature just for the sake of killing it. To me, that doesn't make sense. I mean, you would hope that people would use the meat and, you know, they would do something with the animal. But unfortunately, a lot of the time, people don't. They just kill the animal and that's it. So I don't think it should be banned, but it needs to be controlled. And I also think that it would be better if people didn't hunt for sport and they just hunted to sustain themselves and to use the food.
3,
I'd make it a law that if you go and live in a foreign country, it should be compulsory to learn the language of that country. I think that otherwise, if you don't speak the same language as the people around you, you're never going to be able to integrate into society. I lived in Brussels before, where the language is either French or Dutch. And I had a good bit of French, which I found really helpful. People always found it much nicer when you went into a shop or into a restaurant and you were able to make an effort to speak in their language. It's also a much better way to get to know the country that you're living in. It helps you be a bit part of it more if you can actually communicate with the people and make friends with those people. I think that's probably the most important part about it.
4,
I think there should be a law that if you're fit and able and you've been unemployed for, say, 6 months or more, and you're receiving money from the government to help you, you should have to do some kind of voluntary work. There are lots of projects that I'm sure aren't being done because there isn't the money or there aren't the people to do the jobs. So if you're out of work, then why not do something constructive to help society and your local community? The sort of things that could be done are, for example, fixing up local community centres or painting churches, doing work on local schools to make them better places for learning. I think if people did that, did some kind of work or helping the community, it would get them used to the routine of working. It would make it easier for them to get back into work when they eventually find a job.
Okay, of course, we can't deny that it was a lot of information. So guys, just like we have been doing when we have this type of listening that, once again, forces us to write down a lot of details and stuff, I'm going to send you to breakout rooms so you can compare your answers. Remember the idea, guys. All of you share what you all listened, enrich each other's answers. So when we get back, the idea that everybody can provide, you know, in order to like compare, we can discuss. And I really hope that then in those cases, you actually make sure that everybody shares. That is basically the idea. So I already arranged the breakout rooms. I think, okay, there is a repeated name. Let me adjust it. Okay. Well, guys, there is only, all groups are around 3 participants. So you are going to have 8 minutes, okay? That is basically the idea on this part. Remember, you are going to share your notes, you are going to enrich each other's answers. So when we get back, everybody shares. That's basically the intention. Guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
No, teacher.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I already adjusted so you can share your screen. Let's start. Well, guys, welcome back. I hope that you enriched all your answers. I'm gonna display the slide, but I put the numbers. That's how I, let's say, organize better the information. So well, let's see how much information you got. I'm pretty sure that you got a lot of information from your groups. So let's begin with the first speaker. I would like from group number 2, Manuel, speaker 1. Which law were they talking about?
Well, teacher, they were talking about a trial license for cars. He was saying that the trial license that they normally have for motorcycles before getting the full license should be implemented into cars also, because he thinks cars are more dangerous than motorcycles, and people is very imprudent.
People are imprudent?
And no, okay, people do things that they shouldn't do.
Okay, well played.
Yes.
Maybe you mean reckless.
Yes. That, and after they have that trial license, after 2 years they have the trial license, they can do an extra test before getting the full license.
Okay, very good. Very good, Manuel. That is a good summary. Let's see if there is something else to add from another group, or you guys also agree. I would like to ask from group number 4, Kiara. Something to add from the first speaker? Kiara?
Teacher, the first speaker, I don't remember.
Well, what about the speaker number 2, Kiara? Well, first of all, which of these laws was this person talking about?
About the hunting like a sport.
Okay, that was the law that they were talking about. Sorry, I have to move my chair over here. And what did she say?
That he agreed with the hunting like a survivor activity, but not like a sport.
Okay. I think it was a she, but okay, that is something that it was explained by speaker number 2. Thank you, Kiara. And of course, group number 4. Group number 5, something to add to what Kiara was explaining, Marlon?
Yes, teacher. She said that she don't find pleasure, placer, no me acuerdo,
Pleasure is okay. She doesn't
pleasure.
find.
She doesn't find pleasure about hunt animals for sport, but for eat or
For food?
for it
food.
she say that is fine.
For food is fine. Or for eating, because
For
food is a
eating.
preposition and the ing thing. Okay.
Okay.
Well, from the same group, Diego, I would like to ask you guys about the speaker number 3. Which of these laws, what suggested laws, I forget, was he talking about?
The speaker number 3 say they should be learn. The people should be learn the language of the new country that they go to live.
People should learn.
Yes,
Mhm.
because they need to communicate quickly with other people in that country for buy things or food in a restaurant or shop or any else.
Very good. Anything to add? Thank you, Diego. Anything to add from group number 1, Jorge, to what Diego was saying about the speaker number 3? Jorge?
Yes, teacher.
I was asking you if you have anything to add for speaker number 3, well, based on what Diego already shared.
No, teacher.
Well, Jorge, so let's start about, sorry, I'm all confused. Let's speak about suggested law number 4. Which is that law from speaker 4?
Speaker 4. He was talking about the law number 4. And when a person had unemployed for long term, 6 months maybe, and you should do voluntary work in a local community, fighting church, professor, and you can do a lot of projects in that communities.
Well, that community or those communities to keep
In
the alignment
those
in numbers. Okay, very good, Jorge. Something else to add, Xiomara, to what Jorge was saying about the speaker number 4, suggested law number 4? Xiomara?
Yes, teacher. Also, he says, why not do something constructive to help society and society and your local community. Also, also says, I think if people did that, this on him of work or helping the community, it will get the music to the routine of working.
The routine of working. Very good. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I know that sometimes these exercises are way too demanding or complicated, but the more we do them, the better our, let's say, level gets, and actually the easier it gets. We're going to move to the next part. I was telling you, like at the beginning, when we were reading these laws, some of you thought that we were talking about which would be good. And actually, that idea is the one that we need for our next part. As you can imagine, of course, in this type of activities, we have the opportunity to work collaboratively. You will be working on breakout rooms. In this case, I'm going to rearrange the breakout rooms. You will be working with different people this time. What you're going to do is to choose 2 suggested laws from the previous slide. Well, you know that these are on the book. So actually, it is not that, let's say, problematic for you. You're going to choose one that you agree with and one that you disagree with, okay? The idea is that you're going first to write the law that you are, let's say, interested. Let's not say interested. The one that, let's say that you begin with the one that you agree. The reasons why you agree or disagree for the laws that you choose, your opinion, sorry, the reason, and then an example to support your opinion. If you remember on the listening, the people were giving example. Let's use one like the first speaker, talking about how those riders of motorcycles, they had a trial version, you know, of their, I forgot the name of the word, of their license. So he was suggesting that actually for cars, it should be the same. That's the idea, that you're going to, let's say, write down an example, a little bit similar to what was presented on the listening that we have already done. So first, the law. Then, if you are for or against, then the reason why you are for, the reason why you are against, and then examples to support your opinion. Okay, that is basically the idea. Guys, then in your groups, first, of course, you have to write down the information. I'm gonna send you the link. Remember that in this case, you will be working with different people. So let's wait until you go to the breakout rooms to start editing the slides. And then when we get back, the speaker, the person that you chose, is in charge of presenting this chart. Okay? Guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
Teacher, sorry, for the file number 1 is agree and number 2 is disagree. Yeah?
Number 1?
Fila, row.
Okay.
Row, yeah. But the subjects is possible different agree and disagree, or only the rule, or only one.
The idea is
for example,
yes.
For example, you don't spoke all public. I agree with loud, yes, but it's possible disagree. Take driving free licenses, for example, is possible.
Well, the idea is from this list, Beatriz, first of all. You take two from this list, and then you write, let's say, the list.
Yes, for round number 1, it's possible. I choose one list and the number 2 other loud in the list, or is the same list?
No, it has to be a different law.
Okay.
Like, for example, let's say that you agree with number 5 and you disagree with number 11. I'm saying like numbers at random, of course.
Okay.
The idea that they are different. Yes, please. Yeah, guys, any other question? Okay. Okay, remember that, guys, that you have the laws on your book. I think that I haven't changed here, so you can share your screens. Excellent. Let's see.
Teacher?
Yes?
Sorry. An example or case that support your opinion is similar. The audio for the pay involuntary, he in a specific example, child, or this is an example?
Something similar to the listening. Yeah, like that was one example. She said that unemployed people should do volunteer work. That is a good one.
Okay.
That's similar to the listening exercise. Excellent. Well, guys, you will have 15 minutes when everybody arrives to the group. Don't forget that when we get back, you will share your charts. Okay? Let's start. Everybody's there. I already adjusted the repeated account. Let's start. Ay, Vanessa. Señora, you raise your hand.
Teacher, a question. There is a law like only of audio, or o todas.
Vanessa, your sound is horrible. Sorry, I didn't get the information.
Vanessa, all the list. All the
Oh,
list.
okay. Thank you.
You got the information, but it's okay. I didn't get it.
I understand her, teacher, but the audio is a problem. Yeah.
It was a problem. Okay, good. Okay, guys, welcome back. I was checking some of your comments, having a look at the idea that you were sharing. Remember, of course, that the intention was also for you to to choose. I can't write and speak at the same time. A speaker from your groups in order to decide the person who is going to present. So let's start then with group number 4. We have Diego, Natalia, and Xiomara. So who's the speaker in group number 4?
Hi, teacher.
Okay, Diego, great. I'm going to display.
Okay.
Ay, dice compartir. Excuse me, Diego, give me a second. I'm going to display presentation so we can all see better. Yes, go.
Okay, we agreed with the lessons driving because it's prudent that the people prove that they can drive correctly. For the reason, the people need a lot more practice before they actually ready to go out on the road. An example or case in 2021 was 7,270 deaths in traffic accidents by reckless people in Colombia. For other law that we disagree, is voluntary work. It would be contrary to the currently economic model because it would give way to socialism. The reason the country not be able to support this law because there is not enough money to pay so many people a salary. An example, the money for unemployment people is paid by those who are employed. It's
Okay.
all, teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego, and of course, Natalia and Xiomara. Guys, adjust the title. I'm gonna give you only one correction. Of course, that will be part of the grade. Driving license, because you have license driving.
Okay, teacher.
Of course, guys, don't forget that in case that you wanna check this again to make any adjustments, you have until tomorrow, 6 p.m. I know that tomorrow you will be busy among many other things, but of course working on the the third advance. But in case that you wanna like check this once again, you have until tomorrow, 6 p.m. Let's look at group number 2. In group number 2, we had Manuel, Jorge, and Beatriz. So who's in charge of sharing the chart?
I think we didn't decide, teacher.
That was part of the instruction. Choose a speaker. Only one. So who's the volunteer?
Me, teacher.
Okay.
For my group, I agree. I would ban smoking in a public place, even outside, because for public here, smokers should have close place for them. For example, when people smoke in public, other people inhale their pollution air and this is very unhealthy for them. For example, in some countries, there are smoking cabins in the city where smokers could go.
Okay.
We disagree. I would change the law so that young people have the right to vote at 16. The reason is not correct that the government allows them to vote because people younger than 16 are still kids and they are not ready yet to decide the future of their country.
Okay.
we have an example. We think that young people could vote in high school for a student who they feel represented by, but young people won't be too sufficiently prepared for deciding about their country.
Mhm. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Give me a second. Thank you very much. Just one thing, pronunciation, public and vote, Beatriz.
Vote and what, teacher?
Public. You said public.
Ah, okay.
And it's
Public.
public. Very good. Group number 2, of course, and Beatriz, thank you very much. Group number 2, I guess. Group number 5, let's see who of you were there. We had Jessica and Vanessa. So which of you ladies is the speaker?
Teacher, okay, the subject today, law. I could ban smoking in our public place, even outside. We agree with that law. Could be harmful to others. Reason because cigarette smoke can be annoying to other people. An example, if a person is very prone to lung cancer, it will be very annoying for them to breathe frequently in both public and private places. The second, I think adverts should only be always to give information with truth. We agree with that lay. It
That
should
lay?
be
Vanessa, ¿cómo que that lay?
that law.
Mhm.
Sorry, teacher.
Okay.
It should be obligation that is necessary because it could confuse people. An example, if you read advert with false information, but you believe it's true, you could confuse others.
Okay. Remember, guys, that we check the grammar part eventually. Pronunciation, Vanessa suggested. Once again, public, not only for Beatriz, keep that like pronunciation in mind. And private, no private. I get that you said private. Okay. Vanessa and Jessica, thank you very much. Group number 1, we had Sebastian, Marlon, and Maria. Who's the speaker? Who's the speaker? You, Maria?
Me, teacher.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so his law. Here we disagree with I will sing the law so that don't have the right to vote at 16. Reason because the majority of 16 years old have not yet completed their secondary education and my lack the skills and knowledge necessary to make made political decisions. And example, young people skill do not know the word.
Still, you said skill.
Still do not know the world of politics well. They need to study a little more at 16 to be able to vote. Other ways they might vote for the opinions of others. And we are agree.
We agree.
We agree. We agree with. I think that hunting and harming for export should be banned. A reason in some countries where hunting animal is a great export, the species of animal that they hunt had decreased and could become extinct. An example, for example, elephants in Africa began to be born without tusks, so that they would not be hunted and become extinct.
Okay, Maria, thank you very much. Bent, not Bennett. And of course, Sebastian and Marlon, who also took part of this group. And last but not least, we have group number 3. In group number 3, we had Santiago, Kiara, and Catherine. So which of you guys is a speaker in charge?
Me, teacher.
Okay, Santiago, go.
Well, teacher, about the fears, hunting and harming animals for sport should be banned. We are agree with this because...
We agree. No, I have to interrupt you, Santiago. We are agree is not accepted anymore. We agree.
We agree without the verb, without the verb to be.
Yes.
Thank you. I will take in account. Okay. Okay. Because we think this can directly affect the different species and in some cases alter the balance of our ecosystems. Well, we know that it's true. Currently, there are some regulation over the species that are hunted, but in so other many cases, there are not. Our reason, we can find other entertainment ways and sports that doesn't include animal suffering. For example, my classmate Kiara mentioned something about the virtual reality and that currently exists some video games which plot run about the hunting of different animals, but it's a video game in virtual reality. And finally, the example, we have the case of African lions and rhinos, which have been taken very near of extinctions. Well, actually, currently they are protected by many governments, but before there aren't. So, well, now the second, the long-term unemployed should have to do voluntary work to get employment benefits from the government. We disagree with this because the government could lift part of their responsibility over the same community. And if the people do voluntary work with the purpose of get an economy benefit, it already want voluntary work. The reason this may not be beneficial for the people since the government may not comply with the agreed conditions, they could take advantage of employed people. An example, this could be something like the social links. I think this idea could be a little bit confusing, but well, because we took the social links like at an example because during this, the people lost their intention of achieve with their responsibility. And this could be happens with the voluntary work. It's all, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Santiago. And of course, that includes Kiara and Catherine here in our group number 3. Okay, well, guys, well, Santiago, you said also banned. Remember, banned, that sounds like a D. And you said other entertainment ways. I would say that, I think that you mean entertaining with ing at the end. And 2 more words. We have rhino, not rhino, and comply instead of complete. I think that was the pronunciation that you used. Okay. Well, guys, thank you very much here for sharing your opinions. Remember, guys, that in case that there are some adjustments to be made, you have until tomorrow, 6 p.m. One very important aspect to keep in mind, guys, is that, well, one thing that also, well, I was telling you, while some of you were giving that, let's say, delivery, you still say we are agree. We gotta be very careful with that one because I think that we have repeated a lot. We only say we agree or we disagree. We don't need to use the verb to be on that one. And I think that we have repeated a little bit the whole idea of we are agree, like being an incorrect version. Let's put it like that. We know that it's going to be without the verb to be. Keep that in mind, please. Okay, very good. Let me adjust one thing. Okay. Yeah, I was looking for another one that I saw here. Yes. Here in number 4, you said the country not be able to. Remember, guys, from the models that we were studying previously, that we have to use any tense to know if we're talking about present or if we're talking about past, right? So not alone is like, I don't know if it is present or past. So Diego, Natalia, and Xiomara from group number 4, do you remember here? You said maybe you mean the country is, the country won't. I don't know which tense are you planning here on a slide. Yes, this is the one, number 4. Do you remember, guys?
No, teacher.
Well, for example, that is probably an adjustment that you need to make, okay? Because in this case, based on what you had already discussed, you need to decide. Remember, guys, that, well, probably that's one of the things like to keep in mind. We were talking about modals on this unit, and that was like the intention on this part. I saw that some of you tried a lot, and that was great to use the models, but we gotta be careful on this part. So in group number 4, keep in mind that aspect as well. Here also in group number 2, keep in mind, guys, the, let's say, alignment, you know, like, for example, government, we are talking about like an institution, right? Like in very general terms. So if we are talking about the verb in present, that means that we have to use third person. So Manuel, Jorge, and Beatriz, that you guys are the owners of slide number 2. Then how should the verb go if we're talking about present and third person?
Should be with an S at the end.
Exactly, very good. So make sure you do the adjustment on that one, please. Let me keep on.
Teacher.
I wrote the comments and I forgot to put the slide where they are. That was my mistake. Okay, the yet in here. Yet usually goes at the end of the idea. Like at the end of the statements, okay? So they are not ready to decide the future of their country yet. That would be it.
Yeah, we had the doubt about it.
Okay. That was a 1. Let me see here. I think the water coming from here. Let me see my notes again. That was the one basically. Let me see the other group. I think I didn't write notes from this one. I already checked this one. Okay. Well, guys, anyway, keep in mind, in case that you want to double check, that is the idea. Guys, please don't forget before we almost wrap up the session, the activities in the virtual campus. Guys, have you already started doing the activities in the virtual campus?
Yes.
Yes, how is it going? I guess that Kiara sent me a message checking some of the activities. Anyway, let's check once again. For example, Beatriz already, Diego, Sebastian hasn't entered yet. Karen also. Mandy, Vanessa hasn't started. Xiomara hasn't started. And Jessica Paola hasn't started. Guys, remember that we have until Friday to do the activities in the virtual campus. I know that you are really, really busy, but it is very important, please, that you start working on this part. I know that you consider that 10% is not that much at the end of the day, but it is not because of the percentage. That is not like what we care about at the end of the day. We are talking about, let's call it, maybe you think that I'm being dramatic, the opportunity to practice, you know? And well, guys, to finish, let me display the project once again. Remember that tomorrow, on the second hour of our first part of the session, we will be working on our third advance. Guys, for this third advance, you will be, let's say, completing the presentation that you started on the previous cycle. The idea that at the end, this is going to be the visual product that you will be presenting on your video. It's very important, guys, that you follow the instructions. Of course, the idea that you speak on the video, I mean, that is the important part of your performance, but it doesn't mean, please, that the delivery only has one picture, or maybe you put only one word. Please include like key ideas. Of course, once again, is your performance what at the end matters the most. But what we want to see is like a presentation that works as a visual aid, not only pictures and just like that. You guys still have access to the link of the previous cycle, right? Have you like downloaded the presentation from the previous cycle, guys? Yes or no?
Teacher, what teacher?
Did you download the presentation from the previous cycle?
No, miss.
No, teacher, I used my file.
Okay, well, in some cases, I didn't make any comment. In some other cases, I made some comments. Guys, make sure if I made some comments that you keep in mind that and make the correction. So I don't have to see those comments once again. Jorge, you know, that link of the previous cycle, it's on an email. Probably when the email that I sent when we began B1.2, you know, in those emails you have that. So I know that some of you already sent the advance, well, not sent it because it is uploading. And that's great, that's up to you. But keep in mind, guys, that tomorrow we will be working on that, okay? Well, guys, as usual, thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Don't forget, we will be working on our project. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, miss.
Thank you, teacher. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, teacher.